So this video is really looking at how we create our reality moment by moment, and also how our thinking can affect how we feel. The video has been brought to you by Sligo Leader Partnership under the SciCap programme, and my name is John Graham. So before we start to look at the effects of your thinking on the body, let's check how you're creating your experience of life. You know, to be able to navigate your way around the world, you need to create a version of what's going on. How do you do that? Well, at the moment, you're watching me on a screen. Okay, so how do you know that I'm here? Well, one is you can see me. Okay, so light's hitting your eye, it's hitting the cornea, and then that's being focused into the retina. It's then triggering electrical messages which are traveling to the brain via the optic nerve, and then the brain's sort of making a replica, a best guess, a picture from the information that's been sent to it. So it's an internal experience. You can hear me. Okay, so sound waves are hitting the ear canal and they're causing the eardrum to vibrate. Then that vibration's setting a few other things in action, which are eventually creating nerve impulses. The nerve impulses are going down the auditory nerve, and in the brain, these impulses are converted into what we hear. So again, even though we think it's happening outside, it's actually happening within the brain. Okay. Then we've got touch, we've got taste, we've got smell. You know, those are our 5 basic senses. And there's other senses too, which are less well known. And some say there's up to 21, but it's debatable, depends who you speak to. But we have our 5 basic senses, and they help us create and manage our way around the world. Now, they're only giving us a thin slither of reality. You know, other animals, other species have different senses, can make up the way that they see the world in a different way. But we have what we have to help us survive and help us thrive. So what's happening is that we're creating a version of what we think is happening on the apparent outside world inside, so in our brain, in our thinking. And most of it's happening, you know, so fast that we don't even notice it. But why is this important to know when we're looking at how to calm the mind, how to create calm? Well, if everything is mind-made, then the body's going to react the same way, whether it's really happening or whether it's imagination, because really everything that's happening is being created in our imagination. So let me show you an example of this. So what I have here is obviously a bit of lemon. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to chew into the lemon. As you can imagine, it's an extremely bitter lemon. And that'll do me for now. Now, what do you think, or what might be happening in your mouth at the moment? Do you notice any activity? For some of you, what might be happening is your mouth might start to water. You know, saliva starts to get produced. I don't know if you've ever done that, where you've just thought about food and start to salivate. You don't have the food there, you're just thinking about it. But the brain doesn't understand the difference between imagination and reality, so it starts to produce the chemicals that it thinks are required in order for you to process your food, to protect your teeth, to be able to swallow and all that sort of stuff. Okay. So with this, you didn't have to have the lemon in order to salivate. The brain just produced the chemicals to go with the information that it was getting. So how does this tie in with trying to feel more calm, especially if we're anxious or we're stressed out or whatever? Well, thinking about it, have you ever watched a scary movie before? Okay, and when it gets to a particularly frightening bit, what physical reactions might happen? So there might be a bit of tension, yeah, it might tense up, there might be some sweating or perspiring or glowing, your heart might start racing, increased blood pressure, you know, stuff like that. Even though we know it's just a movie, That's why we can enjoy it, because we can still feel those feelings, but we know it isn't real. We know it's make-believe. But what's happened is our brain doesn't recognize that. So it goes into fight or flight. There's a little area of the brain called the amygdala, which is your sort of primeval part of the brain, which is trying to protect us. So that kicks into action, producing, signals to create adrenaline and cortisol. And the more that we spend worrying about something or engaged in thought about stuff or trying to resist it, the more that we're actually producing this stuff. Even though it was just a movie. But this can be exactly the same when we're just thinking about stuff that's either happened in the past or coming up in the future. Because we're thinking about it and the brain doesn't differentiate between imagination and reality, it'll produce stress chemicals to go with that thought, even though it's just a thought. Okay? So our feelings are a really good barometer of our thinking, the quality of our thinking. If you're feeling stressed on a regular basis, then that's probably a sign that you've got a busy mind and you need to do something to allow calm. Because if we carry on staying in stress and producing those stress chemicals, then it can have a knock-on effect in terms of your health. For some people it can have an effect on their sleep. For others it might be blood pressure. It can have an effect on their ability to digest food. Their digestion. People get upset stomachs when they stress. It can have so many knock-on effects. So the more that we can catch it, the more that we can do what we're teaching in these videos to allow calm, the more of a knock-on effect positively it's going to have on your health. See, what we need to do is to realize that these feelings are just an internal biological reaction to a best guess to the raw data that are being received through our senses, through our thinking, and that we don't have to react to them all the time. Again, if we can just see them rather than be caught up in them. So, what can we do when we notice this to allow calm? In videos 5, 6 and 7 we'll be looking at what can create a busy mind, which can then create those feelings of stress, of anxiety, and we'll also look at what you can do in order to try and calm those down naturally, okay, without trying to force anything. What we're going to do now though is a meditation to link in with the senses. So I'd like you to get yourself nice and comfortable. And to start off, no rush to do anything, but just allow yourself to become aware of what's happening in the room. So just noticing what you notice for a few seconds. And then when you're ready, bring your attention to your breath. So let's focus on the air passing over either your mouth or your nostrils. And remember, this is a meditation that you can't get wrong. So if your mind wanders off and starts thinking about something else, just bring it back to breath. And you may want to close your eyes as you do this. It doesn't matter how many times your mind drifts away, you just keep bringing it back to breath. There is no getting this wrong. Okay, so we're going to move through a couple of the senses here. So what I'd like to focus on first is the sense of touch. So I'd like you to notice where you're feeling supported. So that may be your back on your chair or your bum on the seat that you're on or the bed. Just to notice that feeling of support. Don't overanalyze it, just to have a sense of wherever you're being held, wherever you're being supported. And then notice what you can hear. So you can hear my voice, hopefully. You may be able to hear other things too. Or it may be completely silent around you. But just for the next few moments, notice what you can hear. And then bring your attention to what you can see. So even if your eyes are closed, it's just being aware of the lights, or the colours, or the shades on your eyelids. If your eyes are open, it's just being aware of what's in front of you without paying any particular attention to it. Just being aware of what you can see. Now let's open our attention up, open our awareness up, so we're aware of what we can feel, what we can hear, and what we can see all at the same time. So just allow yourself to notice what you hear, feel and see all at the same time. Again, if your mind wanders off, that's okay. When you notice it's wandered, just bring it back and allow yourself to hear, feel and see all at once. And in your own time, you can open your eyes, have a little stretch, a little shake. And why not play with that meditation throughout the day today? It's just to start to notice what you can hear, what you can feel, then what you can see, and then have a go at feeling, seeing and hearing all of those all at once, without trying to force anything, just becoming aware of all of those things, and see what happens. Until the next video, all the very best.